Physical exercise is essential in order to maintain optimal motor functions and general physical health. Regular exercise and movement not only strengthen the immune system and prevent numerous diseases, but also improve fitness and general well-being. But what if physical limitations make it difficult for someone to move independently? How can activity and flexibility still be maintained? Lack of movement can cause a number of health problems. These can range from joint stiffness, loss of muscle mass, circulatory disorders and muscular stiffness, through to painful spasticity, high blood pressure, and impaired cardiovascular performance. Today we're visiting the headquarters of the Schmiede Clinics in Allensbach near Lake Constance in Germany. The hospital was founded in 1950 by Professor Friedrich Schmiede. Since then, it has established an excellent reputation as a specialist centre for neurological disorders and as a pioneer in the field of neurological rehabilitation in Europe. Each year, about 11,000 patients with various neurological diseases of differing degrees of severity undergo rehabilitation at the Schmiede Clinics. The hospital has its own institutes for scientific research and teaching and provides a continuously high level of expertise. The holistic treatment concept takes account of the medical, social and vocational rehabilitation and training of patients suffering from brain injury complications. Complex brain disorders often require the expertise of several therapists from various specialist areas simultaneously. For many years, the doctors and therapists have been successfully using the MOTOmed movement therapy devices made by the REC company as an additional supporting therapy option.
At the Schmiede Clinics, we treat neurological patients at all severity levels. This means that we have a Phase B, including early rehabilitation, followed by Phase C and D. Patients include stroke, traumatic brain injuries, Parkinson's disease, and patients with inflammations of the nervous system. Patients are treated here as well as at other various locations in Baden-Württemberg. For more than 20 years, the Schmiede Clinics have been collecting experiences with the MOTOmed devices in seated as well as supine position. At this location, we are utilizing 22 MOTOmed devices. We have more than 50 devices in use in our 6 locations. We are using all 3 MOTOmed training modes: the passive, the motor-assisted and active-resisted mode, depending on the individual needs of different patients. Goals are to reduce spasticity by preventing joint stiffness and trying to increase muscle strength, and therefore indirectly optimizing walking ability. Our patients usually start with a passive warm-up phase, meaning the MOTOmed is moving the pedals for them. The MOTOmed cycling motion increases the blood circulation, helps to maintain physical functions, and has a direct influence on improving muscle tone. As soon as a patient's condition improves, they can increase their own activity and reduce the passive training time.
The extensive range of MOTOmed movement therapy devices provides an appropriate therapy option for most patient groups. Movement therapy is possible for the legs, arms and upper body. In order to switch the MOTOmed from leg to arm and upper body training, the arm trainer is simply swiveled out to the front. This enables the user to alternate between arm and leg training quickly and easily from a sitting position without assistance. The motor-driven MOTOmed models provide passive, motor-assisted and active-resisted training for the lower and upper limbs, depending on the patient's condition and capabilities. The MOTOmed thus becomes a beneficial partner for the patients at each stage of their rehabilitation process. The special servo-cycling feature permits active training to regenerate residual muscle strength. Even minimal impulses given by the user are recognized as activity and supported by the motor. In the active resisted mode, resistance can be adjusted smoothly from 1 to 20. Whenever the user gets tired, he can relax his muscles and the MOTOmed will take over again and move the legs or arms passively. This improves blood circulation and therefore the oxygen and nutrient supply to the muscles, enabling them to regenerate. Relaxing passive phases in between help the user to regain strength in order to resume active cycling. This has a positive influence on the duration of active training time and on the therapy progress in general. When it picks up active impulses from the user, the MOTOmed indicates the impact of the right and left pedals separately on the monitor screen. This is especially interesting for hemiplegic patients. Visual feedback helps the patient to train evenly by focusing on the weaker side of the body, and also avoids overstraining the joints and muscles of the unaffected leg or arm. The MOTOmax motivation program provides an interesting and very popular alternative to regular symmetry training. Coordination, concentration, and muscle strength are worked on simultaneously. MOTOmax moves to the left or right depending on which pedal of the leg or arm trainer is pushed with greater muscle strength. High concentration is required to keep MOTOmax in the center of the podium, and this is rewarded with jumps for joy. Champion points can be collected by increasing the muscle activity applied. The training results are displayed on the monitor at the end of each session. The optional training analysis program SAM2 with a chip card can store, evaluate and print out up to 24 significant training results per session in figures and graphics. Movement helps to improve general well-being and therefore the overall quality of life for the patient. It stimulates both physical and mental functions and activates the body's defense mechanisms. MOTOmed movement therapy helps to maintain muscle mass and to improve the overall fitness level and physical mobility. Pain can be reduced and the metabolism is stimulated in a natural way.
Most of our patients integrate the use of MOTOmed devices into their everyday lives. They are accessibly located in our physical therapy and nursing units. Patients are using the MOTOmeds in their therapy treatment sessions and on their own in the afternoon or on the weekends. After many years of experience with MOTOmed movement therapy, we recognize that the patients feel comfortable, safe, and enjoy training with the MOTOmed. The MOTOmed is the ideal addition to manual physical therapy. With physical therapy, we are focusing on the physical limitations involved with everyday life. The MOTOmed is perfectly suited for basic training before and after our physical therapy treatment. We are actually practicing discharge management. A few days before a patient is discharged, we are coordinating the follow-up treatments with the therapists and healthcare services. A medical prescription is necessary for the appropriate health aids and therapy devices. Patients that have been benefiting from MOTOmed therapy during their inpatient rehabilitation usually get our referral for a MOTOmed for home use as well. For those patients with limited walking ability, wheelchair users, or for patients that are primarily confined to bed, the MOTOmed can considerably improve their mobility. The MOTOmed helps to reduce spasticity, prevent joint stiffness, build up muscle strength, and therefore help to improve walking ability. We have gathered very positive feedback with the MOTOmed devices. They are easy to operate, and most patients can learn to use it very quickly. The MOTOmed can be accessed from the comfort of a wheelchair or regular chair and are designed for stability and durability. They operate very quietly and have very little space requirements.
The effectiveness of MOTOmed therapy has been substantiated in testimonials, scientific studies, and published documentation by doctors, therapists, and rehab facilities throughout the world. Several tens of thousands of people worldwide use the MOTOmed successfully every day in rehabilitation centres, hospitals, and nursing homes, and in their own homes. The software is available in 27 different languages. Patients and therapists use MOTOmed therapy to provide a high-quality treatment option for their patients. Movement enhances the patient's overall well-being. Contact your local MOTOmed representative for further information and for a trial at your facility or home.